and tell ya there's only one song worth singing. They may try and sell ya, 'cause it hangs them up to see someone like you. But you've gotta make your own kind of music, sing your own special song.
Okay, so this content piece I've actually been working on for about 6 months now. I kind of write a little bit here and there when I've read something new or thought of something new to go in. So it started off as like a guide for creating Facebook ads, and then it's blossomed into, well, what makes good content, because it's all a part of marketing in the end. So what I really wanted to talk about is the content emotive? Is it engaging? Is it informative? Is it creative?
They can explain everything.
The thing about creativity is, I think to a certain extent, it's got to be new for it to be engaging and for people to take interest. Chris Rock once said,
"Cause that's what relationships are all about. Recycling, keeping it new. If it ain't new, it's through." But fella.
So it's important that you're producing new things and you're following your own path. So there was a DJ that I used to listen to back in the day when I used to listen to Hard House. Now, I'm pretty sure 99% of the people on my LinkedIn don't listen to Hard House or didn't listen to it either. One of my favourite DJs, Paul Glasby, he once said in an interview,
I just fell into it. I mean, I had no sort of designs of making any sort of, persona, or I just turned up, Thing is, for me, I've been lucky because I just turn up and play what I like, and then I've been lucky that people like. There's a lot of DJs that sort of try and chase the sound, and try and appeal to and follow whatever, whatever's new. I mean, there's some like 1 week they're playing hardstyle, next week they're playing funky house.
and that was one of the things that made him unique, is because he didn't just follow the trends that were available in the DJ scene at the time. He made his own sound. So following your own path is really important, and I feel like this kind of theme was kind of discussed in the film Free Guy. So in the film Free Guy, I won't go into too much detail, but I feel like it kind of talks about finding your own path, not copying others, not being an NPC. And I think to a certain extent it also talks about Hollywood and how Hollywood has found this kind of trend kind of formula. Stick to the formula, it makes money, the investors want to come in, let's not do anything new. And so this is leading to some really bland films. We're getting sequel after sequel, and people just are not enjoying them as much as they used to. With creating engaging content, I think a part of it is connecting with your audience, because if you're not resonating, you're not connecting with people just turn off. You become a Me Too kind of social media person. And that's not what you want. You want people that are going to connect with you. You want to come across as authentic, because if you don't come across as authentic and you're just regurgitating the latest technical specifications on a particular app, then whilst you're being informative, you might not be connecting with your audience as much as you could be. So one of the other things that makes content good is its shareability. It's the word of mouth. That share button on social media is basically you being talked about by other people. So it's important that you kind of pre-think, how do I get people to share my content? Am I offering anything in my content? Is it new? If it isn't new, then it's through.
It's new. If it ain't new, it's through.
That's what I just said. I always try and make my content as unique as possible. I don't always do it. My content is far from perfect, so I don't want to delude anyone into thinking that my content's perfect. It's far from that, but I'm work in progress. So one of the things I found really helped in growing my account was the Midjourney stuff. The photography stuff was good, but there's at the time I was making my photography content, there's millions of people that have digital cameras, and there's millions of photographers that are far better than me. But because I was kind of like quite quick off the mark with the Mid-Journey stuff, that's how I found my audience, was creating new things people hadn't seen before. Now, unfortunately, this market is reaching saturation point where it's very difficult to find new pieces of art that haven't been explored before, new themes. It's becoming harder to create something quite unique that hasn't been seen before. With this in mind, if you're trying to grow your account and you find it difficult to produce content, you may not be passionate about it as much as you could be. I think one of the reasons why I stuck with the Mid-Journey content is because it was so exciting. It still is exciting. The video from Runway and Pika, this is a whole new medium which is I can really get behind and I can really get excited about, and I can finally produce real things that many people haven't seen before. They haven't seen it in this way. Obviously, everything that AI produces, most of it's been done already through graphic design, illustration, videography, cinematography, photography, and so on. So eventually, it'll become difficult to produce new things. But it's exciting getting there, though. Ongoing viral. I think something Gary Vee would say is he would say that it's difficult to go viral, and if
Do you have a system for consistently generating viral content?
No. Because viral content by nature is viral and uncontrollable.
you put too much money and effort and time into one content piece and hope that it goes viral, most of the time it just doesn't happen. The amount of times I've seen people spend a lot of money on content and it just doesn't do well. I think what he would say is keep producing content as much as possible. I mean, he pumps out, doesn't he do like 17 pieces of content like a day? And some people would say it's not very good quality, but quality is kind of subjective. So I guess there's two ways of thinking about this. You could produce lots of content all throughout the day and you're going to game the algorithm for sure, because you're going to get the likes and shares. And if one content gets 20 likes and you do 2 content pieces in a day, you might get 40. It makes sense to keep making content. But if people don't find that your content is innovative, you're not learning anything, it's not emotive, it's not informative, it's not creative, then people will go off your content. Like, for example, like I've watched enough of Gary Vee to understand all his points now. I think his 3 main points are work hard and use Facebook ads. I think that's about all he's got to say, really. I'm sure there's more to it. So I've read some of his books. I've read Left, Right Hook, and one of his other ones. I mean, they're a little bit out of date now, but I'd say most of the concepts are still pretty relevant. So, emotional marketing versus logical forms of marketing. So, logical forms of marketing would be like a double-page spread in the New York Times talking about the specifications on the latest Apple Mac computer. This is actually something that Apple used to do, and then they switched to a more emotive form of marketing, which was the Think Different advert.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
I'm pretty sure all of us have seen it who like advertising and are into marketing. And it was really inspiring because they went straight from logical into emotion, and they appealed to people's aspirations, which is people want to think that they think different. We all want to think that. and people want to be associated with cool people. You know, you had some religious figures in there, you had some artists in there. I can't remember off the top of my head now, but that did much better for Apple than just laying out the specifications for their latest app. So it's important to keep this at the back of your mind. You don't want to be too logical in your posts. You still want to have that element of emotion, but you know, a lot of posts that are informative are going to be logical. There's no denying that.
Of course.
So on using trends, I try not to follow trends. It's difficult because you're so heavily influenced by social media and what's happening right now. And it's really difficult sometimes to come out your shell and do something new that hasn't been done before, or create a new trend of your own. It's really hard to do this because I guess it just takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of testing. So I keep a spreadsheet, or at least I used to keep a spreadsheet of all of my posts. So I would write down likes, shares, how I wrote the post, the hashtags, all of that sort of stuff. I don't do that anymore because one of the features of the creator mode in LinkedIn, it basically tells you most of that. So whilst it was a good method to figure out what my best performing posts were, LinkedIn tells you. So once you've done all that research and you've worked out what actually works for you, it's kind of self-explanatory. If you've done enough testing and your posts are varied enough, it's kind of self-explanatory what your next step should be, or at least the types of content that work on a regular basis. So the way I think about producing content is you do what works, but then you also experiment whilst you're doing the stuff that actually works.
That's very confusing.
Somebody's about.
See, the other thing I find about finding your own path and creating unique content without emulating other people too much is that it's really freeing. I guess that's why I enjoy Midjourney and Runway so much, is because you might be sitting down watching TV and, you know, doing some experiments, waiting for them to render, and then as soon as you find something, you're like, yes, got it, that will work. I'm going to do a couple more of those, and I think I've got a series of images that I can start posting. And I don't know, it's a self-esteem boost when you find something new that hasn't been done before, and you know people are going to like it. I think whenever I find something that I really like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure people are going to like that. But it doesn't always work. Look, I'm not perfect at doing content. I just like doing it. So I just wanted to leave you with this last scene from Free Guy, and it's about an NPC, and this NPC has an interesting character arc, and he goes from NPC to basically thinking for himself, and I think that's the approach I think we all need to have when we look at our content. And I'm interested in people's thoughts, by the way. You know, this isn't like I don't think this is the last piece of content that I'll do on creating good content. So I'm interested to hear what people got to say. Anyway, back to the NPC guy. So at the end of the film, he finally realizes that doing your own thing is I don't know how to describe it. I think you'll understand when you watch this next bit.
Buddy! Hey, no, keep going! Go on without me! I've been scared my whole damn life. I'm not scared anymore. Sorry. I'm not. It's been the best day of my life. You get to that field. Show we matter. That security guard right there was a goddamn hero.
But it's just a sweet, sweet fantasy, baby. When I close my eyes, you come and take